Their special tactical squad was even called Justice after the Justice League, the Stan Lee-created superheroes operating out of a hidden cave with a top-secret mandate to take on all villains who threatened the American way. Seemed oddly fitting in some perverse way. Tugging on the tether to bring the dog under heel, the kid shrugged, directing his reply to both men. "I don't know, sirs. He got all antsy earlier at the south checkpoint, but none of the other canines reacted, so maybe he's just having a bad day." When the animal finally settled at his feet, tongue lolling out of his mouth as he panted and ever watchful in his capacity as a bomb-sniffing guard dog, all three men studied the brown and black shepherd with keen interest. Never taking anything for granted or at face value, each mulled private thoughts as eyes, alert and ever vigilant, surveyed the scene around them looking for anomalies that might explain the dog's tension. Improvised explosive devices and suicide bombers had become the enemy's preferred fuck you method when striking the coalition forces. Attacks had been happening more and more frequently, and in unexpected places, coming closer and closer to their secured areas. Turning his attention away from the dog he had at his side, the kid held his M16 rifle protectively across his chest. "Hey, did you hear about Team Matrix? They were doing an overnight near the border when one of those motherfuckers blew a device on the convoy. Killed 6, including an in-bed from the BBC." Hearing that bit of news, Cam and Dre looked at each other behind the dark lenses of their sunglasses. Fuck. Talking about body counts was usually immediately followed up with a swift change of subject that Draegyn was quick to provide. "Have you been over to HQ yet, kid? The Major has been holed up there for way too long with a bunch of heavy-vested pussies. Oh, my bad. I mean, politicians who were making his life hell, last we heard." The disdain Dre felt for those so-called public servants was dripping from every word with special emphasis on the pussy. Alex, the third wheel and most senior member in their long association, was a brilliant tactician with the body and brawn of a battle-hardened warrior. He was spending way too much time these days holding the sweaty hands of the never-ending stream of nervous politicians and State Department yahoos who flew in under cover of darkness. After a dog and pony show visit, they would hightail it back to the safety found on U.S. soil, so they could whip up their constituents and department heads with dramatic tales about the sights and sounds of life in a forward operating base in the middle of what had become a never-ending war. All that PR shit wasn't exactly what Alex thought he'd be taking on when he was promoted last year. "I saw Badiria headed that way earlier with Asef in tow. He asked where you were, Lieutenant," the kid said in Cam's direction. Asef and his mother, the lovely Badiria, were fixtures in their compound. Asef was maybe 9 or 10 years old and accompanied his mother nearly every day when she came to work as a translator and secretary in the HQ. The youngster was bright-eyed and extremely personable. He loved all things American with a special penchant for anything and everything connected to Batman. Dre cast Cam one of those knowing looks that bordered on a leer before chiming in with, "You've been spending quite a bit of time with the lovely widow and her son, Cam. You find a way underneath that hijab yet, dude?" "Shut the fuck up, Dre," Cameron snapped. "You're way more likely to go for a pair of brown doe eyes beneath a veil than either of us would," he added while gesturing with the tilt of his head to where the kid stood. "Asef is a good kid, and it doesn't hurt to show the boy that not all Americans are bloodthirsty dickheads worthy of jihad." "Hey, leave me out of that argument, sirs," the kid added with a tongue-in-cheek humor. "My fiancée would seriously kick my ass if she thought for 1 minute that any of the female locals were fraternizing with the enemy." Mention of the fiancée gave Cameron and Draegyn pause. They'd seen pictures of the couple during happier times and had listened to many heartsick stories from the lonely warrior during his time assigned to their squad. Dre's ruthless reputation for fucking any woman with a pulse, along with Cam's bitter mistrust of the fairer sex, and Alex's cold-hearted rejection of anything remotely romantic made them quite a trio. Truth be told, each of them envied the kid in his own way. The battlefield hadn't robbed him of the ability to feel or diminished the desire to forge a future beyond the shitstorm they lived in now. Suddenly, McLean jumped up from his at-ease position and lifted his snout in the air. All three men, ever vigilant to even the slightest signal of danger, stopped in mid-thought and actively scanned their immediate surroundings. Something was up. They could sense it. By reflex and from sheer habit, Cam and Dre immediately hoisted their ever-present M16 rifles and began moving toward the other side of the well-protected compound. Shit got real when the